I'd like to call this board meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District for Thursday, March 9th, 2023 to order. We'll begin with a roll call of board members in attendance. Lee Jones.
Here.
Penny Givens.
Here.
Isabel Piedmont-Smith.
Here.
And Jeff McKim here. So let's note that we do have a quorum. John Hamilton, Julie Thomas, and Dan Swafford are not going to be here today, but we do have a quorum. So let's move ahead with let's see, we have the executive committee meeting minutes. Anything to call our attention to? Okay, then we have the the board of directors meeting minutes for January 12th, 2023. Any comments? Otherwise, I take a motion to approve.
I'll move approval of the Board of Directors meeting minutes of January 12th, 2023.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we'll consider approval of the Board of Directors meeting minutes for February 9th, 2023.
I'll go ahead and move approval of the Board of Directors meeting minutes for February 9th, 2023.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, controller's report. First, we have the cash flows. Or possibly not. I think there is an issue with the cash flows.
Yes, please let me give you a little further explanation on that. Due to the need to complete the required annual reports to be submitted to Gateway, the cash flow statements have not been completed. We've been working on them. We cannot provide them to the board at this time. They will be completed as soon as possible, and we will provide them by email. The March cash flow statements will be included in the April board meeting packet, and they will include February month-end totals.
Great. Thank you. Let's see, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Dewar about the cash flows? All right, let's move on to payroll and claims.
Beginning on page 26 of the meeting packet are pre-approved payroll and claims in the amount of $62,003.17. Emailed to you yesterday were claims processed this week, with claims for board approval in the amount of $6,728.31, and payroll claims pre-approved under Resolution 2022-02 in the amount of $28,920.15. The total amount of payroll and claims for approval today is $97,651.63. Are there any questions?
Let's see, are there questions from the right? Please.
I just wanted to inquire about, were there any payments to Republic Services? I'm not seeing any. And usually when there are, we have the graph of, the bar graph showing payments relative to previous months and years.
Those were done today, and we can provide you. You want to see the spreadsheet of how we break that down?
It was the bar graph with different colored bars, vertical bars.
Yeah, the Republic claims being under contract or fall under the the claims that are pre-approved under Resolution 2022-02. Those claims were actually, I guess, a docket of those claims pre-approved were processed today. Republic did have a claim in there. So those would be presented at the next board meeting for ratification by the board. So it'll be included there. If we can provide the graph in advance via email if the board would like.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Other questions? Other questions from the left? All right, I'll entertain a motion for payroll or for approval of payroll and claims.
I move approval of payroll and claims as presented in our packet and with the addition of the email sent today.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Nope. Okay, is there any public comment on this matter? Okay, so let's do a roll call vote.
Githens,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
McKim.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, scheduling joint meeting with CAC to complete 5-year plan review.
Yeah, this is a follow-up. I guess if board will recall, we had a joint meeting with the CAC, I believe on February 16th, but back in February, with the intent to begin a review of the 5-year solid waste management plan. There are other issues that were also on the agenda for that meeting. Due to some time constraints, we did not actually get to the process of reviewing the 5-year plan. So the request has been made to try to schedule a follow-up meeting to complete that review. An email was sent to all board and CAC members, and I apologize off the top of my head, I can't remember when I sent that email, but seeking to schedule a second joint meeting, either in conjunction with the April board meeting or the April CAC meeting. At this point, I have some limited responses, numbered wise, but as far as the dates proposed, the only firm no that I have is from a CAC member for 5 p.m. following the April 13th board meeting. So.
Okay. So has everybody else has provided their inputs, or are you still waiting on?
Those that have, I have 4 board members that I have not yet received responses from, and looks like 3 CAC members.
Okay. And I do think that I believe I mentioned to you that there's a good chance that if it's the actual board meeting day, I'm going to have to participate remotely because I may have a work trip that just got scheduled literally today. For that period.
I did make note of that.
Okay, thanks.
But again, the only firm no for that date and time was from the CAC.
From CAC. Okay.
I don't believe I responded, and I should be available preferably for the board meeting date. But what day of the week does CAC meet?
They meet on Thursday, but they're all Thursday.
Yeah, I should be available.
It's basically, yeah.
Okay.
So 2 Thursdays in a row, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, so Commissioner Jones, any of the dates will work, but your preference would be to do it following the board meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so unfortunately, given the lack of response, I'm not sure what else we can accomplish with regard to this agenda item today, but I will continue to follow up with those board and CAC members that I have not gotten responses from, and we will try to solidify a meeting date and time as quickly as we can.
Wait, I believe, did you have a question?
Well, I've already communicated this to Mr. McGlasson that I would much prefer a 4 p.m. meeting, so April 20th.
I'm sorry?
I would much prefer an earlier meeting, so the 4 p.m. on April 20th would be my preference.
Okay. I have noted that you 4 or 4:30 on 4/20 as your preferred options. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so nothing else to do here, but you will continue.
Unless Mr. Wynia has any additional information from CAC members, I'm not sure that there's much else we can accomplish on this agenda item today.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's move on to the CAC report.
Good afternoon, board members. Joseph Wynia here, Citizens Advisory Committee Chair. We also do not have a lot to report from our last month. The only things that you haven't been already included on are that we did actually adopt our bylaw amendments following the resolution 2023-02 from the district. And then we also voted to appoint CAC member John Arnold as a co-secretary. So everything else is information that you've been included on or participated in already. So that is all we have to report.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions from the left? Mr. Winnie from the right. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along, we move to department reports.
Yeah, I guess I would like to start by inviting Ms. Kayla Strand up to the podium and introduce her as our new waste reduction specialist. She started with us on this past Monday, the 6th, so we are spending a lot of time getting to know each other and researching and figuring out what direction we're going to take with this position.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. Thank you. Can you hear me a little better now? Okay, perfect.
Well, welcome, and yeah, congratulations. I'm very excited that you're taking this position, and I'm very excited that this position has been created too.
Thank you, I appreciate
Let's
it.
see, does anybody have any questions or comments for?
Just excited to see it moving forward.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
welcome to Bloomington too. I understand you're new to the community, so
I've visited a couple of times, but this is my first time living here. So
great.
I'm excited, I like it so far.
Very good. Well, let us know if we can help with anything.
Thank
Yeah.
you, I will.
And we look forward to getting to know you.
Thank you.
All right.
Do I
Thank
have to
you.
turn this off? Or...
You can just leave it. It's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Okay. And then I guess on the opposite extreme of introducing a new employee, unfortunately, I need to announce to the board that Ms. Connie Hudson has announced her retirement from the district, and March the 31st will be her last day with us. We're certainly sorry to see her go. She's been a valuable employee to us for the past 10 plus years, and we will miss her, but we wish her well and relaxation and happiness in her retirement. Beyond all of that, without getting into the detail of the legislative update in my report, I would just note that the bills that we've been watching, only House Bill 1078, which regarded the governance of public-private agreements, did not pass out of its chamber of origin. All the other bills did pass out of their chamber of origin, most with some amendment, but this past week, or the end of last week, there was a break in the first half of the session, and so have not seen yet where any of the committees that the bills have been assigned to in the opposite chamber have been scheduled for any hearings yet. So we'll continue to monitor that and certainly keep the board updated as things move along with those bills that we're watching. And
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When I was going through these, please refresh my memory. Is the Solid Waste District a nonprofit, and is that why you included the information on that bill in our packet?
Yes, the House Bill 1075.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's one that there's been some amendment to, and some of the language has changed. But yes, in the original bill that was proposed, the definition, the scope of what a nonprofit organization would could have been interpreted to include solid waste districts, and that's why we started watching that bill.
But that's been changed so that it's clear that we're a unit of government.
I think that has. I have not confirmed that. I need to, it's not one I've researched myself or gotten a definitive answer from our lobbyists, but we will follow up on that and verify if that's something that could still impact districts or not.
Great. Thank you.
And then we did, I think as everybody's aware, the City of Bloomington Utilities did a staff level review of the draft final report on the anaerobic digester on February the 17th. A summary of that report has been provided to the board and the CAC. The feedback that I received from forwarding that on has been passed back on to CBU and their consultant to have those questions or issues addressed in the final report. And at this point, the last that I had, CBU is planning a public meeting the first week of April to present the final report from the consultant study to the board, CBU, the utilities board, and the public in general. So,
Okay. But we don't actually have that date yet.
Do not have a firm date on that. I have been advised that if this board wished to have any sort of a direct presentation from CBU or possibly the consultant concerning that they would be willing to try to work that out.
I think we would.
Yes, I certainly would like to have the consultant come to our April meeting to present to us so that it's public record as well.
Okay. It would, depending on schedules, would virtual be okay for the consultant's participation?
If needed, but we'd also like to have all the materials in advance then in writing.
I think that's probably more important than anything, is to have the materials in advance. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will request that they be available for the April the 13th meeting and provide as much information as they can in advance of that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
all right.
And then a couple of other items. We did, per staff's decision at the last board meeting, did finalize the agreement with Lambert Consulting to move forward with the rebranding project. So they've begun working on that. Actually have this morning got a meeting, finalized a meeting with their team tomorrow afternoon. So I'll get an update on where they are, what direction they're going, and may hopefully get an idea of when we might be able to start bringing some materials back to staff and the board and to CAC to make sure that we're all on the same page in what direction we're moving with that.
Actually, Ms. Piedmont-Smith has a question.
Sorry, just on the topic of the rebranding, what are the touch points with board members? Are there going to be, logos and slogans that are brought to the executive committee or to the full board, or how do you envision the board interacting during this process?
Well, I've not been provided any specific direction on that. My intent would be to provide, updates at meetings as materials and information are available to present to the board. If the board wants to delegate or funnel that through the executive committee, that's certainly fine with me. If you wish to nominate a couple of representatives to be more directly involved in the process as it moves forward, that is obviously fine as well, whatever the pleasure of the board is.
Maybe we can talk about that at the next EC meeting.
Sure.
As far as, when we want to, what decisions the board or the EC should be involved with. Of course, if non-EC members of the board have input, please let us know, or let Mr. McKim know, or Tom.
I think that works.
That would be just fine.
Great.
And then just announce in general to those watching or that watch the recording, we will, in recognition of Earth Day and Arbor Day, the district will be distributing tree seedlings at our administration office between April the 19th and April 22nd. It's something that we had done previously. We kind of paused that for a few years, and we're doing the rain barrels and composting bins. But due to inquiries and requests from the public, we're going to do tree seedlings again this year, and be collaborating with Canopy Bloomington, who will have volunteers there to help guide people in their tree selection and help them make sure that they get the tree planted and give it the right environment to prosper in. So,
Excellent.
with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. McGlasson? Please.
I do. Yes. The sustainability department that you're working with on the project for the interlocal that we were gonna
Yes, for the composting pilot.
Yeah. Where does that stand in terms of getting that resolved?
Well, as indicated in the memo, the City of Bloomington staff had indicated they would work with their legal department to help draft the interlocal or memorandum, whatever agreement is determined is needed to collaborate on that project. District staff has developed a draft RFP to put out for the to find an entity to actually implement the pilot project, and that has been submitted to the City of Bloomington's Sustainability Director, and I've not heard back from him on that, and I've not received anything regarding the drafting of the collaboration agreement yet.
Is this something that we might get Mr. Baker involved with? Because it was my understanding that this was time sensitive in terms of getting this into place this spring before people left for the summer.
Well, I've previously talked with Mr. Baker about that, and he indicated that his preference as far as the collaboration agreement would be an interlocal agreement. Relayed that to city staff, and they'd indicated they'd work with their legal department on that. If Mr. Baker has the time and the willingness and wants to start working on drafting that, we certainly would be open to that.
Mr. Baker, I don't know if you have any comments on that?
I think Tom's recollection is accurate. If this is time sensitive, then unfortunately I don't have time. I'm juggling two appeals pending in the Court of Appeals simultaneously, and I'm a little bit underwater. So I would hope that city can carry the load on that one. If they can't, I can certainly see if one of my colleagues in the office can pitch in.
Okay, it still seems like ideally the city would carry the load on that.
I can follow up with them, with the Sustainability Office tomorrow and see if I can prod them to move those things forward a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is that it?
That's all that I have, unless there's other questions.
Oh, yeah.
Just a point of clarification, although I sincerely wish that we did have a director of sustainability with the City of Bloomington, and I have supported such a position. It's the director of the Department of Economic and Sustainable Development, I believe, that has been working with Mr. Glasson. So
Mr.
just
Crawley,
a small clarification there.
I apologize. Yes, that is his correct title.
Thank you. Thank you for your efforts.
All right, well, why don't we move on then to a report from Mr. Long.
Tech Services, Mr. Long and Mr. Paulson will need the ability to speak and share their video, please.
Hi, can you guys see me and hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, I'll start with the Green Business Network. So the first of every year we send out contracts to all of our businesses and they re-sign up and stuff. And we reach out to businesses all year long. And this month, we've reached out to quite a few, and we have 5 new businesses that are possibly interested in signing up for recycling for the 2023 season. And the Materials for the Arts, Hoosier Courts Nursery School, along with other organizations, have been cleared since the pandemic to start reusing our Material for the Arts program. We've had numerous people that came in over the years or that got shut down over the pandemic or was told they wasn't allowed, are now back in full swing coming in. TC Steel State Historic Site in Brown County, it's kind of unique when we offer the Materials for the Arts program to many businesses outside of Monroe County. And we ask when they use our program that they donate or bring in something that's reusable or recyclable to our program that other people from Monroe County can come in and get. And they come in once a week and use our program, and they're going to start offering camps. And a lot of Monroe County kids, I guess, have signed up for this program in Brown County. The hazardous materials, we've seen a lot of influx in people coming in using our paint room. So if you guys have ever been in our has-been room to get recyclable paint or chemicals that we offer that's still good when they're turned in that we give away, you'll notice it's been somewhat empty people is in there constantly. We see a lot of people every day coming in shopping. And the sites are operating as normal. One thing I can add to that is if you use our Bethel Lane site, the parking lot was getting kind of rough with the weather. We had our contractor out today and he smoothed it all out, worked on it all day. So we should be good for tomorrow for recycling. And that's what I have. I'll try to answer any questions that I can.
All right, thank you very much. I'm excited you're going to be working with Hoosier Courts Nursery. Actually,
Yes.
both my kids went there.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
They came in and talked to me. They was really excited about using the program again. I said, well, I will let everybody know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Any questions from the right or from the left?
No, I'm pleased that they're back also.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a user of the Bethel Lane site, I'll appreciate the. In fact, I will need to go tomorrow to take a bunch of stuff. So I'll look at the condition of the parking lot.
Yeah, I didn't make it out today. He called me just a little bit ago, said he worked on it, got it pretty good. I'm going to be out there myself tomorrow to inspect it and see what was done.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And so now we'll move to Mr. Paulson.
Hello, where'd it go?
Yeah.
All right, Lee Paulson, Landfill Environmental Compliance Director. Just want to, I was out with the stomach flu all last week, so I was not able to get my information to Tom until Monday. So I believe Tom is sharing that. I believe that's what I've seen right there. Sharing that now. So the report, I mean, the month of February was a huge uptick in our compliance cases, especially roadside stuff. I'm looking at the report that I sent to him, and some reason the stuff that the total for 2023s are not accurate. That total, like underneath environmental compliance, where it says total for 2023. The total cases at the end of February should read 76. There should be a couple of legal burns, and those numbers are not correct. Trash removed from the side of the roads via compliance cases is not been updated as well. So I don't know why I must not have hit save or something. But as of the end of February, our total weight was right around 8,000 pounds, which is 4 tons. So far for the first 2 months of the year, that is almost what we did for the entire year last year. So the type of things that we're seeing are larger, much larger, and a lot more frequent. So we're the addition with Danny and Mary Beth and myself, outside of what, the landfill and some of that stuff, we were pretty much just running around picking up trash from everywhere and anywhere that people are calling about. We've tried to organize what we're calling like coordinated cleanups, where we try to get an appropriate, a couple other people to assist us, with some pretty challenging roads. And those have been successful, but those are challenging to pull off, because like Rockport Road is a road that we're working on right now. Yeah. And we've worked on that twice so far in the past 3 weeks. And like the first day we had 5 people. So we had 2 people directing traffic, because we basically have to close off one side of the road because there just is no curb. And 3 of us trying to pick up as much trash and get as we can, and then go to the other side of the road and be safe. And we were out there for 2 hours, and we went 3/4 of a mile, and we literally had, I know some of that stuff got posted on social media, where we had the full back of the red pickup truck full, and that was almost 500 pounds. And then did it again last week while I was not present because I was out ill. They did another like 1/4 mile. So we've got about 14, 15 man hours between people, and we've gone a mile. And there's just more there than, and that's just one road. And I know we're getting some comments, and some people have offered some very positive comments that they've seen us out on the side of the roads doing that stuff and trying to coordinate some of these more challenging roads. But we'll continue to do the best we can. It's just the rest of our duties are still there as well. So we're trying to find a balance to be able to address that. And honestly, the addition of Danny has been a huge asset, because pretty much we just kind of find stuff, and he's going out and pretty much just a glorified trash picker right now, which is fine, but it's just that's pretty much all he's doing right now. So it's been really challenging. And I will say that we've seen a huge uptick in needles. Like we went through a whole period of time where we didn't see needles hardly at all. Like it was rare that we saw them. And we've had some cleanups where we've seen some significant amount. And when you start seeing needles and stuff like that, it slows everything down, because now trash has got to get picked up individually with, you know, tongs and stuff, because nobody wants to get stuck or hurt. And that just, everything takes a lot longer that way for safety reasons, you know. But we're plugging away. It's just, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, even with the addition of the extra worker. It seems like there's a lot more out there. Like one of the first roadside cleanups that we did coordinated wise was from Fairfax Road to just running south for about a mile. And we cleaned that up the end of January, and we've already cleaned that up a second time. And as Mary Beth and I drove down that road again today, there's parts of it already that you can't tell that we've ever been there. So it's just, it's an ongoing thing that, and I don't know what's changed. Whatever happened during the pandemic, where people's social responsibility or something like that for what comes out of their vehicle or what they throw out their windows, because we see that pretty often as well. People just I just don't see them caring. And it's frustrating to see, because there really isn't a lot of repercussions for people that do that stuff. And then it's kind of like the definition of insanity. You know, you just keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, but we're not getting different results. So, and I don't know how to address that other than doing what we do, and is go clean it up. So, but there you go. But other than that, landfill's doing fine. Treatment plant is running okay. We're running about 5 cycles a day right now, which is about 20,000 gallons of water, which for this time of year is outstanding. So we're running that as long as we can. I mean, the weather has been not ideal, but there's been enough warm that's kept that stuff going. So definitely an uptick in that stuff, but things are progressing and going well out there. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
So I have one. You do make an attempt to look for any identifying materials in trash that's illegally dumped?
We absolutely do. But when we're going down the side of the road, like from Fairfax Road down south, I mean, if you drive some sections of roads, it's just loose trash. You know what I'm saying? So it's like tops of cups or McDonald's trash. And I say McDonald's, it's not the only thing. I don't mean to just signal or pinpoint one company. Wendy's and all those other fast food type stuff would probably be a better way to say it. But it's just fast food type stuff, and it's just all light, it's all nothing, it's all parcels of stuff, it's stuff that's flying out of the back of pickup trucks. All the trash haulers are losing trash. I mean, it's just, I don't mean to single them out either, but it's just, if you travel on the roads enough like that and you see enough of those vehicles, they're all losing trash. You know, if they lose 5 pieces as they travel from point A to point B, those 5 pieces end up there, and you got 200 of those trucks a day. That's a lot of trash, you know. And it just, when we get specific dumps, like if somebody calls and says, hey, there's a bunch of junk on the end of X road, you know, we go out there and we try to do the best we can. I try to find some identifying material, some piece of mail or something like that we can send a letter to. But again, enforcement of that stuff is much different, because we send a lot of letters. I'll give Mary Beth a lot of credit. She sends a lot of letters, and very diligent, well thought out, well written letters of compliance and you're responsible for your trash, blah, blah, blah. But past that, there's not a whole lot we can do with any of that. Fines, we don't know if the fines are paid or, you know, if that stuff is ever addressed, and we just keep plugging away because that's what we need to do. But that's an uphill battle that is very difficult with a roadside trash. People's homes, like when we're at somebody's specific house because they've got stuff built up, that, you know, Mr. Baker has been working with us very well. The relationship that he and Mary Beth have has been outstanding, and they've been supporting each other with how the cases have gone and to enforcement type stuff. That's been amazingly good. But the roadside stuff is very difficult to do anything with, because person A that pays, you know, whatever company to go take their trash, and that company just dumps it, you know, that person, you know, paid somebody to do it. So we've tried to follow up with some of those type situations, but again, it's an extremely steep uphill battle to get anything to change. And we're trying to figure it out. We want to figure it out, but, you know, on the other side of that, trash is out there and it's got to get picked up. So we're out there doing what we can to pick it up and try to make it clean, at least for a little while. It just doesn't stay clean for very long. So.
Well, thank you. I know I've definitely heard some positive comments about the Rockport Road cleanup, so definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, there was a couple people that came in, and unfortunately it happened last week when I wasn't here, but some lady, I don't know who it was, but she made cookies and brought them into the office to say thanks. So,
oh, nice.
You know, everybody that was here was really appreciative of that, and thank you so much. That's a huge thing, and we know that we're doing the best we can, and it's nice to get that feedback, because sometimes we don't. You know, we're out on the side of the road and people are mad because we're slowing them down, because, you know, Mary Beth and I are out there historically a lot, and, you know, when I get a car coming up and it's, you know, I can feel my shirt move because that car is that close and it's moving that fast, that doesn't make me very happy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not wanting to get clipped by somebody's mirror, because that's not cool. But people get really upset. I mean, really, really upset, because they're inconvenienced by us picking up trash that somebody else threw on the road. And I mean, we get some foul words when we're standing there, and what are you guys doing? Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's like, what do you want, man? I mean, you want us to pick it up, or do you want to slow down a little bit, maybe have to wait, you know, half a minute for the other cars to travel by, you know? And it's just, it's a very different time right now. And it's, you know, I don't remember this being this way 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I could go out on almost any road and felt okay, felt safe to just pick stuff up. And now I don't, man. I mean, people are just in a hurry and they're just flying. So, but we'll keep, you know, like I said, I mean, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're trying to keep organized and keep positive and to keep plugging away at it. It's just, it's frustrating, because, you know, I look at South Old 37 from Fairfax Road. I mean, it's March 8th, and we've cleaned that road up twice already. You know what I'm saying? And we're not even to boat season when people are going to be traveling on that road. You know, and it's just so. But we'll see. But we'll keep plugging away.
Thank you. Let's see. Yes, questions.
Well, this isn't a question for Mr. Paulson. It's more for Mr. McGlasson. The Stormwater District, when we have people out, they hire flaggers just as independent contractors when they're needed on an on-needed basis. Would it be possible, do we have any money in the budget that we could hire a couple of flaggers at times when Mr. Paulson and Mary Beth and, sorry, I forget the other new person, when they're out collecting trash to keep them safe?
We can look at that. I mean, and what Mr. Paulson kind of addressed some of this earlier. You know, with the coordinated cleanups that they've started doing. You know, we've also have started making efforts to get additional staff. We're pulling staff from our South Walnut facility. We've bought you know, some of the road construction type men working signs that you post at each end of the road where you're working. Some slow and stop signs that employees can hold when we have enough employees to be out there, so that we can, you know, try to do some of that stuff. You know, if we don't have staff available to pull to do that, and there is a road that there is a pressing need to get cleaned up, we could certainly look at hiring outside help to assist with staff safety and and along those lines. But I think it's important for the board and the public at large, to know that we're putting our staff out there and they're doing this, and this is a dangerous environment, and there's going to come a point where staff safety takes precedence over cleaning the road. So if drivers can't, cooperate with our efforts to create a safer environment for our staff out there, we're not going to be able to put them out there.
Absolutely.
I think Kelsey Latonia in the Stormwater office could connect you with the people they're using as their flaggers.
That's good to know. We'll
yeah,
try to make contact there.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I mean, we've done a couple different things before where we've been able to, it took a lot of planning, but we were able to coordinate with law enforcement, and they were able to provide a couple deputies with the vehicles and stuff like that. But that took a whole lot of effort, to clean up a section of road. So we're trying to figure out how we can do this with the staff that we have on hand. We bought a couple walkie-talkies, and we've got the stop and the slow signs so we can separate people, so we can have a section of road where we can kind of try to bust out.
Yeah.
And that has really been helpful. But, due to their staffing and our responsibilities with other stuff other than just roadside cleanups, we're trying to focus on like a Thursday, because traffic during the day is crazy, and trying to be out there after the buses are done, but before like the lunchtime traffic and just some of that stuff like that, to try to be respectful, but try to do the job that we need to do. And that seems to be our sweet spot window right now, and we're trying to run with it. So we'll hopefully be able to evolve this a little bit more as time goes on. But, again, like Tom said, man, I mean, it's scary sometimes, and I'm not trying to be weird about that, because that's part of the role. But, I've been out there, we've all been out there, and you see somebody working. I mean, it's not worth hurting somebody to get to where your destination is 30 seconds quicker, and we're picking up other people's trash. It's not like I threw the trash out the window. I'm picking up somebody else's trash, and so is Mary Beth, and so is Danny, and so is Joey, and so is Kirk, all that stuff. And it's just, and these are sections of road too that, there is no curb, and the vegetation on the side of the road is so overgrown that we're reaching in with tongs, and, it's all that sticker bush type stuff like that. And it's just difficult, and it takes time, and it's just not an easy fix at this point. So we're just trying to start with point A and try to plunge through, and hopefully it will get easier. But right now it's definitely, we're at the lower stages of the ease, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that makes sense.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Paulson? Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the update, and do not hesitate to call the sheriff if it seems like there's actually a threat to safety. People are speeding. Nothing like a police car to slow people down.
Oh, true. Yeah, true. And they've been very supportive, and I can't call them at 10 o'clock and say, hey, we're going to go out at 11 o'clock. They're, what I'm saying? We get a plan, but we will. But thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, so that's all for the department reports. We will move on to public comment. First, is there anyone who'd like to make public comment here in the Nat U Hill room? Seeing none, is there anyone on Zoom? If you'd like to make public comment, please raise your hand. Of course, I don't actually see any members of the public on Zoom, so we'll move on then to comments from directors. Any comments from the left?
Well, I wanted to congratulate Ms. Pockrell for being the Indiana State Liaison for the North American Association of Environmental Education. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I have to read all this.
Thank you. I was remiss in pointing that out on the report.
Well, I just am very, very pleased that she was able to be the person that's named for that. Also, I want to know how the orange bag sales are going down at the district offices.
Mr. Long would probably know better than I would on that.
Yeah. Oh. So it's going slow right now. We have sold probably half a case. It's just not people's are used to buying them there yet, but you know, when the customers are in the parking lot and somebody says something about orange bags or they see one of our signs, they certainly run in there to buy a row. And I think they're happy that they can get them down there. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the ones that have been in there buying them.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Can I follow up on that real quick?
Please.
And then just for the board's information and whoever's watching and the vendors that sell those for us, if we recall last month, we talked about we were having some issues, some complaints with some of the vendors charging more than what the board has established as the prescribed retail price in the fee ordinance. I had a few vendors, not all, but a few vendors that did actually respond to that, and the ones that did confirm they were still selling them for the correct prices, but did get some comments, you know, concerning the current economic climate and the fact that you know, we've not made an adjustment to the discount that's provided to those vendors for those bags. So that's been discussed with the executive committee. The staff's going to do some crunch some numbers on the orange bag program and to see, you know, financially where that program sits with the revenue off the sale of the bags and the cost of actually running the program, and see if there's not something we can do to assist those vendors with their additional costs that they've incurred with labor increases, overhead increases, and with all the inflation, and maybe help them offset some of the increased costs that they've seen to help make those bags available for us.
Thanks. And yes, we do look forward to that data. All right. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Seeing no other comments from board members, this meeting is adjourned.